Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan, and yes, I have my lighting, I have my fan. How you doing in YouTubeLand? That's my new radical rap. So June, for so many different states and so many different countries, is Pride Month. So how could I, a gay man of Cuban origin, and a happily recovered Catholic and a gay male witch, not dedicate some YouTube time to some books that have a gay theme or an LGBTQIA2S+ theme? So first, in no particular order, let us start with You're Sure to Fall in Love, Volume 1 of the Love Trilogy by Bruce K. Beck. And of course, I'm going to have Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audiovisual person, do a close-up of the cover of the book. I had the honor and pleasure of meeting Mr. Beck not this year, but last year. It was last year, right? In 2024, Drake? Last year at the Rainbow Book Fair. And I loved meeting him. Great energy. It was so funny because I had just walked into that room. That room was on the first floor. And I was walking around the different tables and I almost bumped into him. And it was so funny because he was behind at his table, and I wanted to buy the entire trilogy, but I only had enough money for 2. And I'm just like, and it's okay. But I've read the first 2. So I'm going to read the synopsis. And it's a beautiful trilogy, I will say. So, our narrator hopes to maintain his new relationship with the talented musician Bobby James, who is handsome, charming, and 20 years his senior. But then everything seems to change when they head off together to spend the entire summer of 1976 in the sexual candy store that was Provincetown, Massachusetts. In no time at all, our narrator is greeted by a rival, the dangerous Jake Holman, a distraction, the charming John Alegria, an obsession, the handyman Heath Woodford. Honey, Heath is fine. Let me just tell you. That's the kind of fun that's like, you're going to break shit just to get him to repair it. You know, like with certain firefighters, you want to start playing with matches because your fingers are itching to play with matches. That kind of fun. And enough new encounters to make his head spin. Will the relationship survive? The narrator must learn to swim in uncharted waters. Luckily, he finds some new friends to help him on his journey. Bunny Babbitt is a wisecracking black drag performer with uncanny perception, and Anita Lopez is a middle-aged housewife and mother who shows our narrator just how deep a heart can go. But not until he passes through profound grief and even violence can he manage to do some growing up and finally find his voice. You're Sure to Fall in Love is funny, erotic, moving, outrageous, romantic, silly, irreverent, exuberant, sassy, gripping, memorable, even inspiring. Like the era itself. It is the first installment in Bruce K. Beck's Love Trilogy. Watch for the following titles: Love and the Epidemic, set in New York City in the mid-1980s, to be followed by And Love Endures, set in the early 1990s, the finale of this trilogy. Bruce K. Beck is both a writer and an accomplished chef. He is the author of Produce, a fruit and vegetable lover's guide, which was called gorgeous by the New York Times, a dazzler by Bon Appetit, and the most spectacular food book of the year by the Boston Globe. His new book was the official Fulton Fish Market cookbook, which was called Invaluable by Jacques Pepin and A Treasure by Irene Sachs of Newsday. And Rex Reed said, "You'll love this book. It's like a movie." This is a first edition from Audacity Books, New York. I know, the audacity. And please visit audacitybooks.com. And I will tell you, I loved reading this book. I loved reading this book. Those of us who are familiar with New York City have known about the Fulton Fish Market. I actually remember reading a short story when I was in grammar school about the Fulton Fish Market. And I will tell you that there is also a playlist. I forgot that some authors have playlists to their books. And I especially love that each title is a song title. For example, How Little We Know is the title of the prologue, written by Hoagie Carmichael and Johnny Mercer, introduced by Lauren Bacall in the film To Have and Have Not, released in 1944. And then Chapter 1, Easy Living, written by Ralph Ranger and Leo Robin for the film Easy Living, released in 1937, popularized by Billie Holiday. And then we have Against the Darkness, which is, I forgot. First, second, or third. I believe this is the third. This is the third in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the New Generation trilogy of books by the Kendare Blake. And of course, as a longtime Buffy fan, I was absolutely enchanted by this book, by this trilogy. So there is a character who has become one of the new Scoobies. He has come out of the closet. He's a werewolf, and he has a boyfriend who's one of the cheerleaders on the team of New Sunnydale High School. And of course, remember, Willow had that beautiful romantic relationship with Tara, and Willow's daughter, Frankie, is the newest vampire slayer. So this is definitely brimming with LGBTQIA2S plus characters, which makes me so happy. So it's very inclusive. And then, of course, we have The Battle Drum, Book 2 of the Ending Fire trilogy by the Saara El-Arifi. And in both the Ending Fire trilogy and the Feybound trilogy, also written by the Saara El-Arifi, there is some sapphic love, lorn, trauma, drama, melodrama, and just such beautiful, beautiful romance between these two characters. And and I've talked about this in a previous video about how it's just no big deal in these worlds that Saara El-Arifi created, like being gay, being bisexual, being a third gender, being trans. It's just like no big deal, because guess what? It is no big deal. Just like being straight is no big deal, being gay is no big deal, being bisexual is no big deal, being aromantic, I said it right? Aromantic, demisexual, it's no big deal. Being bisexual is no big deal, being pansexual is no big deal, it's just what is. It's like, really, it's like, as the sky is blue, that's how it is. It is, just is. It's not this, they're kissing, they're gay, she's a lesbian, ooh, it's nothing like that. And as a gay man, I appreciate this. I appreciate this more than I can even express. And since I am a bit of a romantic, Best Gay Love Stories, New York City edition, edited by Brad Nichols. I'm not going to read the synopses of The Battle Drum and Against the Darkness, because I've done that in previous videos. But I will read the synopsis of this anthology. Fall in love. There's something about New York City. The glittering lights of Times Square, the towering skyscrapers, the artsy neighborhoods, the glamorous people. It's a city that's as vibrant as life, and it makes the adrenaline rush, makes your heart swell. In a city of dreams, there's also something about falling in love. That instant connection with another soul, that initial electric touch, the intense gaze when your eyes first lock. It's a feeling that is alive. It's a feeling that's as alive as New York, and it dazzles with the remembrance of early kisses and tender embraces. Whether they're about first love or new love, unrequited love or lost love. The 24 stories in this year's edition of Best Gay Love Stories will make you sway, make you swoon, and sweep you off your feet. Brad Nichols is also the editor of the Tales of Travel Erotica for Gay Men series. So the Tales of Travel Erotica for Gay Men series. He makes his home where else? In New York City. And this is not a new book. This was published by Alyson Books, which was founded by Sasha Alyson, and it is copyrighted 2006. Some of the stories are submitted by, including but not limited to, Shane Allison, Brad Nichols, Arthur Wooten, Marcus James, Jackson Lassiter, James Andrew Clark, Gaius Marks, Michael Huxley, Julian J. Lopez, Charlie Vasquez, Lawrence Schimmel, and Simon Shepard. It is a beautiful book. I've actually read all of them, and I think it's time for a reread. I'll probably do that during my vacation. And then we have The Hardest Thing, which is a Dan Stagg mystery by James Lear, best-selling author of The Back Passage. Killing is easy. Love is the hardest thing. Once a major in the U.S. Marines, Dan Stagg fell fool of don't ask, don't tell, and is now struggling to make sense of civilian life. In his late 30s, tall and muscular, Dan works as a bouncer at an East Village nightclub. When he's offered a fortune to protect the young male secretary of a powerful real estate developer, Dan takes off on a road trip with a hot blonde companion who makes it clear that protection doesn't stop at the bedroom door. But Dan soon realizes he's being used as a shield for a much more sinister operation and has to choose between easy money and the ideals that he once fought for. Dynamic, tautly written, The Hardest Thing delivers sex, action, and romance with an equally deft touch. Dan Stagg is convincing as a soldier betrayed by DADT, don't ask, don't tell, and as a man of passionate appetites. His story unfolds at a red-hot pace, together with his feelings for his mysterious protege. A terrific, compelling read. This said by Harper Fox, author of Salisbury Key. This one I have yet to read, but I will tell you, it was published in 2013. James Lear is the author, and it is part of a series, although I do need to find out how many are in the series, and then take it from there. And the titles have, the chapters rather, have titles. For example, Chapter 12, The Hospital. Chapter 11 is, what? The Sting. And Chapter 10 is, what's Chapter 10? The Room. So, and I am partial to mysteries, so of course. So yes, so these are some Pride selections for your BookTube Pride celebrations. And remember, even though Pride is traditionally celebrated in June, you can absolutely make Pride a 365-day-a-year event for yourself and your community. And that's actually something that I need to start doing. And believe me, yours truly has already begun. I wish all of you a beautiful night. And thank you to Bruce K. Beck, Kendare Blake, the Saara El-Arifi, Brad Nichols and James Lear for these beautiful books, and to the respective publishing houses who published them, to the artists who did the cover art, to all of the other contributors to these publications, and of course to the bookstores and websites who sell them. And to all of you in YouTube land, thank you so much for all the likes, comments, shares, and subscriptions to my YouTube channel. And an extra big and beautiful thank you to those of you who have already scheduled your sessions, including the individual who has a phone reading with me tomorrow night, who scheduled it 2 weeks ago, and the individual who has a video reading with me tomorrow who reached out to me not even 2 hours ago. And as always, stay in tune with your intuition. Stay safe, stay well, stay hydrated. Happy Pride, thankful Pride, and stay tuned for the next video.